My name is Ian Crown. You're looking at the Panoramic Fruit Company, which I started in 1994, planting exotic fruit trees in the mountains of Puerto Rico. This farm is located at the west end of the island. The stills that you're looking at are rambutan and mangosteens, which I produce and sell into supermarkets in Puerto Rico or Whole Foods up in the States. What you're looking at as a video after the stills is what's left of the farm. A lot of what you're looking at are actually areas where we planted nothing. We left the native trees in place, and that's how we preserve the watershed. The dark trees in the center of this frame are the mangosteens that we put below the edge of a road so as to protect them from the wind, and they became very well established and actually survived. Many of them survived Hurricane Maria from last September 2017. As you look at the slopes, you'll see very thin lines. Those were cut into the soil to enable my crew to walk along and work on the trees, pick the fruit and so forth. And now you see the paths that they cut, but there are no trees there anymore. This is a road you're looking down on, which flanks one side of the farm. It shows neighbors across the street, and then it also shows looking down on a patch of peach palms and also acai, that the devastation was pretty significant, and a lot of my trees are now just piles of lumber. Here's a neighborhood across the street, again, from a patch where we never cut down anything. And then in the middle of the clearing, you see another area where we did plant some acai and some other very interesting palms. Slowly swinging around, again, looking at the native flora that we left in place, you see some trees dotted about. Those are the flamboyant, which are native to the island. You also just saw an insert that is our 30,000-gallon concrete water tank. In the far side of this frame, you see a pole sticking up from a slope that was brought in by a crew from Virginia. They brought it in by helicopter and seated it on a new concrete platform to bring back to this area high voltage lines. Of course, until they ran the lines between the power plant and this particular spot, there was no electricity in Puerto Rico for 3 to 6 months. Looking down on the farm here, you see large bare areas where the trees were indeed blown away. Most of this was pretty well planted. On the left side of the road, looking down past the giant mangoes, which are all over Puerto Rico, again, slopes where we had very large plantings that are gone. This is another slope that shows a dotty sort of pattern of trees that managed to survive, and then a large part of the slope where, as you see in the insert, trees were stripped clean of their foliage and are just trying to recover from what was left after wind gusts up to 165 miles an hour and hurricane force winds for 24 hours. In this, you're looking down on different buildings that we have on the farm, or structures, the main building where we do the washing of the fruit and so forth. And then behind it and alongside, you see more slopes, more mangosteen. The goal long-term is to use the funds for payroll and to bring in new trees from wherever we can find them. The government was unable to meet its debt obligations before the hurricane and really isn't there for us to help us now. They have their own issues to deal with. These are, again, you're looking down on a slope where almost everything was just stripped away. One of the trees that I planted, which I plan to go back into if I can afford to do this, would be the durian. This became more and more popular each year as a fruit, and it would be one that would be planted so as to enable a fruit crop for the future. On September 20, 2017, I lost about 10 tons of fruit and 2,000 trees, and I would like to hope in the years ahead that I can replant all or most of that and then resume my position supplying tons and tons of fresh fruit to the people of Puerto Rico, and also supply mangosteens to the chain, the Whole Foods chain up in the States. That is the goal. The purpose of the video is to help me raise awareness of what happened and what it looks like, and to try to get people to think about contributing and helping us to rebuild. It's about restoration. There is most of a farm in place. There's all the crew that I need. There's water. I have the infrastructure. This is not about trying to create something from scratch. This is about building off what was left after the hurricane. And everything that I possibly could hope to do kind of requires that we have funds coming in to help us. This is a person who has worked for me since 1995, and that's the house, the farm building itself, where we do all the washing, and that's a neighborhood dog who's hanging out with my crew. The fruit that's being brought to the truck by Teen is something called an abiyu, and it is an exquisite sweet fruit. This is peely nut being picked off the branch. These trees I actually planted as a windrow to protect the farm. These are breadfruit trees, grafted, believe it or not, that are supplying us with a steady supply of the high starch fruit that people enjoy. These are pulisan that mostly survived the mangosteens in a crate, and that's what the mangosteen looks like inside.